So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take a look at not one, not two, but three figures this time. But rather than wasting your time and mine, let's take a look at all three of the Wave 1 entries for the Transformers Power of the Primes Prime Master assortment. Talking about Liege Maximo and Skullgrin, talking about Vector Prime and Metalhawk, and last but not least, talking about Micronus and Cloudburst. We'll do one at a time, but all of these guys are pretty much exactly the same. So without any further ado, let's get in to the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor. Have a look for me everywhere. And we're going to jump right into this. The first one that we have is Liege Maximo, and his decoy armor, which is basically a pretender shell, is that of Skullgrin. These guys are quite small. This is the Power of the Primes version of these little guys, Titan Masters, but instead of coming with little vehicles this time, they come with decoy armor. And I think it's a nice nod to people that are fans of pretender shells. I can dig that, I can respect that. For now, let's take all of that off, and this is the box. It is a box, and it says Liege Maximo, and there's a picture of Liege Maximo here. We have some artwork for Skullgrin up top. If we go to the back, we get a pretty in-depth bio here. Skullgrin decoy armor and Liege Maximo Trickster, and for some reason Vector Prime is up here. I don't know if that's just supposed to be reminiscent of noting what a Prime Master is. There's also a little clear section here. In the folded up form, you could see what what Liege Maximo looked like. And of course you have the product shots. But without any further ado, let's get right into the figure itself, shall we? And here we have him in all of his glory. Now, in terms of the little, I guess, Liege Maximo Prime unit, it's exactly like a Titan Master. We have a ball joint at the head, and we have ball jointed arms, and the legs can get into a seated position. He's pinned at the hips. This time, instead of having a screw inserted into the tummy to hold the pieces together, we have it pinned in. I don't know if that's better or worse. I guess we will see over time, but right now it seems completely indifferent. Obviously, to transform this little guy, you just fold it up like that. Nothing spectacular there. I guess that's supposed to be the symbol of Liege Maximo. A lot of people said it's a face, and granted, it can go on a figure. And I'll show all of them toward the end on somebody. I don't really see it as a face. I see it more as a symbol, so to speak. So just laying him down for a minute. We also have this thing. It's painted in silver. I think it's cast in this kind of magenta sort of fuchsia color. I guess it's like a claw weapon thing. There's a little 3mm peg, so the decoy armor can actually hold it. If you want the decoy armor to hold it, you know, it can do that. In terms of the articulation on the decoy armor, the arms can go all the way around, and that is it. I'll say this, out of package, this little peg is straight down, so you're going to want to fold that back in this case. You know, the paint apps are really nice. I think the head is painted, and I think anywhere you see kind of the white color is paint. Some of the gray might even be paint, but I think that it's a mix of like fuchsia and gray plastic with white paint, but it's very Skullgrin-esque. It's accurate. Now there's basically two things that you can do here, besides what I've shown you. you can take this piece, and there's a little nub here, or sorry, a little hole here and a little hole here, and you can put it on the back. There are little nubs on the back. So we will put that in. Now it just sort of rests on his back. If you want, you can bring that up over and bring that handle down, and he becomes like a, I don't know, a claw thing. In terms of Prime Master integration here, okay, you can take the Prime Master and... Sorry about that little cut there, but I had to double check how this works myself. Okay, so what you have is two little pegs in here, and just like with the Titan Masters, you have two little pegs on the feet of the Prime Master, so you put this in here, slide the little pegs on, and there you go. You can put the Prime Master on top if you want, and I guess this is Liege Maximo claw, I suppose. Or you can take that off, put this back, and put this up, and pull down the whole front. When you pull down the front, you can open out the Prime Master, and for the record, the paint scheme on the little robot is very reminiscent of the kind of tank figure that was inside the original Skullgrin. The thighs weren't purple, I don't think, on that one. Well, there was gray and purple going right down the leg, basically. I think it would have been a little more accurate if the thighs were also gray, but hey, what do I know? You push this in here, so now he's inside the decoy armor. You push that up, and there you go. That's it for him. Let's move on and take a look at the next one, which is basically the same thing, and you'll notice I haven't actually said numbers for grades yet. I was saving that really until the end, because I'm going to basically score all of these guys pretty much the same. So that's it for him. We're going to move on and look at the next one, and that's going to be Vector Prime and Metalhawk. And here we are with Vector Prime and Metalhawk. Again, the package, same routine, quicker this time, thankfully. We're going to take these guys out of it. We have the package here. Great artwork of Metalhawk's Pretender shell. You got Vector Prime down here. If we go to the back, again, we see the product shots. Oddly, now Micronus is up here. Time Traveler makes sense for Vector Prime. That's it for this. Let's look at his components. And these are the components of Metalhawk. And well, I guess Vector Prime. The little Prime Master figure is definitely not painted the way that well, I don't think he's painted like Vector Prime. I don't think he's painted like the little robot that would be in the decoy armor. We'll get to that in a little bit as well. Exact same articulation with the head and the arms and the legs, seated position and the pin. We fold this guy over, and now we have the face. See, that doesn't look like a face to me. That looks like a symbol. I guess the symbol for Vector Prime. Laying that down, we have the blaster here, I suppose. Exact same thing with the 3mm peg right there. It can go in the hand of the decoy armor. It looks kind of ridiculously big, but it can go there. It's not going to work with, say, deluxe size figures or anything, because it's a 3mm and not a 5mm peg. It would just fall out of their hands, even if they could get it around it. Same thing, we put this on the back of Vector Prime here. If I can figure out how to get that. I find his is really tight. There. So you have it down on his back again. You can, of course, bring it up over. Like so. Now he looks like this. And exact same integration with the pegs on the decoy armor going into the feet of the Prime Master. Like that. So nothing new there. By the way, I don't think I pushed this down all the way. that does like kind of snap in. The whole cannon section does kind of snap in. Again, you can take that handle piece down, folding this back. The decoy armor has arms that can go all the way around. No elbow, no waist, no head, no anything. We can again open it up, and this time we would take Vector and place him inside, and he looks like that. It's a nice rendition of the decoy armor, or the Pretender shell. I'll give credit where credit is due. It's just not the most exciting, or I guess it's kind of functional. It has the same articulation as a Pretender shell. No real kind of technological advancement to give this guy more articulation, though he does certainly have more playability. Alright, he's done. Let's blast through the last one of this wave, and then we'll kind of do a couple of comparisons, a couple of things that I wanted to point out, and give a grade and wrap this up. And here we are with Micronus and Cloudburst. Again, exact same thing. Taking this out of it, we have here the box. We have the little open thing on the back. You can see Micronus's face, or symbol, if you will. Artwork there for Cloudburst. On the back, again, we have the product shot. And we have the Liege Maximo up top. We have Micronus down here. And Micronus has a power swap. Let's get into the figure, shall we? Alright, and again, exact same articulation as the others. Pinned in the belly and at the hips, I assume at the hips. Oh, his arms don't really want to move. Yeah, pinned at the hips and the knees. One thing that is very interesting and worth noting is that all of these Prime Masters do have painted faces. This guy has a silver face. Of course, a purple face on Liege Maximo, and actually no, this guy has a blue face, sorry, and a silver face on Vector Prime. So, little additional paint apps, that's nice. Again, nothing real special. You transform it by turning it around, and then you have the little Micronus symbol, if you dig that. The little blaster is double-barreled this time. I think it's cast in the red color and then painted with the kind of grayish color. As with the others, it certainly can go in his hand. It's big, but I feel like it kind of works best for this guy from all of them, to be honest with you. Exact same articulation with everything being limited except for the arms that can go around 360. Naturally, we can also take this piece and plug it on the back. Again, it is tight. You gotta wedge it in there. You bring it all the way over. You bring the little handle down. You take the Prime Master and the feet go on over the pegs again, and actually looks kind of cohesive. I sort of dig this. It is what it is. I guess if you wanted to, you could also, maybe you can't bring the arms up. I guess you could bring them up around, if you wanted to give some variety or something, I guess you could do something like that. It's an option. It's an option. And of course, last but not least here, we pull this down. We pull down the front, which on this guy is real loose and floppy. It's not like it on the others, but it's real loose and floppy on this guy. We open up the Prime Master and we slide Micronus in, and we close up the decoy armor. Oh, and if that handle is out, you put that to the back, and boom, there you go. Alright, before we get out of here, let's finally give these guys a couple of grades and see what they look like with a couple of kind of key comparisons. And here we have none other than Hardhead without his cranial unit, just to show, here's... That didn't really work, did it? Here's my Micronus on as a head. You know, it would probably work better with the body of Sentinel Prime or Hot Rod from the Titans Return line. Of course, can go left and right. You know, look up a bit, look down a bit. It's a weird looking face. Here's Vector Prime on. Again, it might work best with, potentially, it might work best with someone such as, I don't know, Trigger Happy maybe? And exact same articulation. And of course, here we have the Liege Maximo, who has commandeered Hardhead's body for his own motives, I guess. Left, right, up, down. It, again, would be a weird looking face, but it is certainly a play option that you have. I also wanted to do two other comparisons here using Metalhawk and Vector. Here are the two Metalhawk figures that I have. This one's from the Siege on Cybertron box set. It has a few custom paint apps. Professor Go is his Titan Master, and it is very indicative of the robot that was inside the Pretender shell. That being said, my understanding, as I remember, Pretender shells for the Autobots shrunk down to be kind of human size, so this is probably actually pretty accurate, and when they came out of their shell, they went through some mass shifting to become larger. So this is actually probably pretty good, because this is very indicative, made for a little bit of missing white on the bicep. Except for that, it's very indicative of the Pretender shell. This is very indicative of the robot inside of it, and this is probably pretty accurate. One could say I have two versions of Metalhawk, or one could say that they are really the same guy. It's just one time he's in his Pretender shell and the other time he's out. This might be, especially for scale wise, the perfect representation that we could possibly get for this guy. And here we have Vector Prime over in the chest cavity of Overlord. I feel like if we had a gold one over here, like this would work respectably well as representations of the Power Masters. So I kind of dig it. Now, you know, can they close? Well, if you try to close the chest armor, it comes close, but no, it can't. It still can't exactly close. That being said, you know, in the Master Force series, these weren't closed anyway. I think it's certainly better to have that in there than it is to have a head in there. I really feel like this tooling was done with the idea of having Prime Masters in mind. Okay, let's finally give these guys an overall grade. So how do I score three figures? First of all, the paint apps. I think all of them are highly indicative of their Pretender shells. The robots inside, though not very paint heavy, certainly do have at least painted faces. And in the case of the Liege Maximo, he looks like the robot inside the Pretender shell. I respect that. So for paint apps, it's no mistaking who these are if you know the characters. They're easily, across the board, a solid 8.75. Not perfect, but pretty darn close. Maybe even a 9 in like Skullgrin's case, but definitely an 8.75. Articulation and, you know, posability, playability. Well, here's the thing. There's not great articulation. I mean, we all know what the Titan Master articulation is like. And we know now that these guys are a brick except for their arms being able to go around 360. But they can turn into Target Masters, and you could buy a bunch of these and repaint them to represent ones that we are missing, unless you bought some of the Japanese figures. But, you know, here domestically we missed a whole bunch of Target Masters. These guys could easily be customized into those, and I may very well do that, to be honest with you. Besides for being able to, you know, transform into Target Masters, they can hold the accessories they come with and use them, you know, as battle ready instruments, and I don't know what else to call it because I don't really understand what Skullgrins is. That's more than Legends class figures are coming with nowadays. And we can even take the little Prime Masters inside and incorporate them as heads, if we're so inclined, for Titans Return figures. There's a lot of options and a lot of gimmicks thrown in here. Articulation gets a low score. That's like a 2. It's nothing to get excited about. You're not doing anything dynamic with it. But when you combine it with what this is capable of interacting with, it really pops it up to about an 8. It's good for what it is. And finally, transformation. It's easy, simple. You just fold up the little guy. To make the Target Masters, you just fold up the backpack, and even to put them inside, you just fold down the front. It's very fluid, very easy. It's the same for all of them. Again, if you like easy, that's probably a 10. If you don't like easy, then it's probably a 2. Here's the thing, at the end of the day, if you like Prime Masters and Titan Masters, if you like those little guys, if you enjoy Pretenders and have been longing to have some, if you are a completionist for Primes and hey, these will do for you, then you're probably going to like this line. And I could say that this wave overall is a solid 8 to a 9. It's really quite good. Even though this guy here, for me, is pretty loose. But I think that will be, results may vary. If, on the other hand, you don't really like the little guys, you think that they're just a little niche thing that's not for everybody, you've been on the fence about them, do I really want them? I don't know if I'm down with it, then you're probably not going to like them. If you weren't a huge fan of the Titan Masters, this is not going to change it for you. In that case, these guys are probably about a 3. What about for me personally? Are they the 8 or 9? Or are they the 3? Neither. I can sort of take them or leave them. If I have them, they're cool. I might customize them because I see the merit to it. And for that reason, for me, I'm going to say that they're pretty middle of the road. They're about a 6. 5 or 6. Anyway, that's it. That's the entire wave 1 for these guys. Let me know what you think about the little Prime Masters and their decoy armor. You know, I always love to hear from you guys. And as always, I thank you for dropping by, giving me some of your very valuable time. And I look forward very much to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.